Hey, what's up, guys? This is From One Man to Another. So, today I wanted to talk about the biblical structure of the week according to the Bible. So, we all have heard honor the Sabbath. It's part of the Ten Commandments. And a lot of us growing up, we went to church, thinking that, we were keeping the Sabbath by going to church on Sunday. I know for sure I was. My parents would take me to church every Sunday, and I thought that that was keeping the Sabbath. And, for a whole majority of my life, I would go to church and have the Bible read to me, the bits and pieces that they would read. And, I thought that I was getting fulfilled. I thought I had a good understanding, and that, I hear the Bible every Sunday. I don't really need to, dig into the Bible for myself. And it was this belief that, really kept me stuck, and it really kept me trapped the way that they wanted me to be. And I say this with full sincerity that, oftentimes we have to let go of our pride and circumcise our heart. That way we can accept that we've been wrong. And oftentimes, we don't like to accept that we've been doing something wrong for a long time. But it takes humility to, to understand, reflect, and accept that, we were doing things wrong and we were following traditions of men. But part of being restored and being renewed and not being conformed to the customs of this world, but being transformed by the renewal of your mind is doing your own research and not, simply taking things, by faith that, what they're telling you is correct. And it was crazy because I was reading the Bible to my father the other day, and I was reading it in Spanish, and I was reading these Bible verses about the Sabbath, and it was calling it sábado. So for those that don't know Spanish, sábado means Saturday. And well, in the English Bible it just says Sabbath. And for a while I thought, Sabbath and sábado. That kind of sounds similar. That kind of sounds like it's a root word or something. And I didn't think much of it until I did some more digging and I found out that Saturday is actually the Sabbath, and it was actually changed to Sunday at the Council of Nicaea by Constantine. All these church fathers and leaders got together, and you gotta understand at the time the world was pagan. They worshipped many gods, and the Israelites that brought about this faith that we believe in, that's modern Christianity. Um, they believed in one God, monotheism, and the other guys was polytheism. They believed in many gods, and at the time, they weren't really meshing because of the distant beliefs. So the whole purpose of this council was to get them to agree on certain things, and what this produced is, the Sabbath being changed to the first day or the eighth day. That's what they had called it, but it's the whole reason is that they changed it to Sunday because they were doing sun worship. And not only that, this is where we get Easter from these mixed pagan religions. And this is where we got the date for Christmas, because nowhere in the Bible says the day that, Jesus, Yahusha, was born. But, we take it from these guys that they tell us, and after years and years and years and years and years and years, nobody really questions. Everybody just kind of takes it as traditions, and they're like, well, this is just what we do. And it doesn't get questioned. And that's a really grave mistake because, we're all believing lies, and these same lies are going to be the lies that will take us to hell. Because by honoring on Sunday, we're giving veneration to the sun. Even though we don't do it intentionally, they know that we're giving that energy, and, they're well aware of it. That's the whole reason why they changed, Yahuwah, the God of the Israelites, to the Lord. And, it was part of the ineffable name doctrine. It's all to keep us from our Creator, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is where we got our tradition of worshiping on Sunday. But the truth is that we're actually supposed to worship on Saturday. Saturday, the Sabbath, is actually observed from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So, this is a good time to, you know, rearrange your thoughts and, examine your heart. And, like I said, it's okay to be wrong. We were all misled at one point, but the thing is that we're finding the truth. So to supplement that, I wanted to start off by getting into the book of Genesis. I wanted to read about the seventh day. So we're going to Genesis 2, 2 to 3. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work. So there you have it, Genesis. Alright, so now we're going to hop onto Exodus. We're going to Exodus 28 through 10. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Alright, so we're going to hop onto Leviticus. We're going to go to Leviticus 23, 3 through 4. 6 days work shall be done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even in holy convocations you shall proclaim in their seasons. So from there it goes to the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. All these biblical feasts that we don't even observe because they tell us that it's not important. They tell us that we shouldn't be keeping the law anymore, which is a whole load of BS. But, that's for another video. But yeah, like I said, it's all right here in the Word. And oftentimes we've been trusting man more than we trust our Creator. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate. I'm probably going to get a lot of reproach. But, at this point, I realize that I don't care. The people that I get to reach, even if it's just 20, 30, 40 people, if I can get them to, spark a change in their minds and have a change of heart, that's all that's worth it to me. Because, we really are in the last days. And, the mainstream church, they're not telling you. They're not getting you ready for this. Your pastor's not getting you ready for this. And that's where I realized that, that's the problem. These churches aren't living biblically aligned. A lot of them are, going off of the prosperity gospel, wanting you to make your own heaven here on earth. And they want you to impose your will here on earth. But when it's actually Yahuwah, the God of the Bible's will, we aren't meant to be kings on this earth. We aren't meant to live lavishly and have it our way all the time. It's always his will. And we want to be gods here on earth, and that's where it's a big no-no, because we make ourselves the idol. Think about it. It's all idol worship. Saturday, instead of, praising Yahuwah, you're out there working, you're out there partying, you're doing all these things, but because man told you to go worship on a Sunday, you set apart Sunday because that's what they told you to do, because that's what everybody does. Come on, think for yourself. I don't mean to offend or step on toes, but I really want people to think and analyze for themselves that we have been lied to. And like I said, it takes humility, and it takes a feeling of, what, I know that I did wrong, I know that I've been wrong, but I'm gonna do better. So what I wanted to wrap up this video with is, now that observe the Sabbath. Take this time to be with your family, have a meal already prepped, have your houses in order, have your house cleaned up, have all your work done. That way, all that you need to do is, rest, enjoy your family, give praise to the God of the Bible, read, get deeper in your faith, take this time to rest, to observe, go take a walk out in nature with your family, and really observe and reflect on your life, because this is a day where we have a spiritual rest. Everything rests, and we should all rest. And, this hustle culture really wants us to not observe the Sabbath. Especially if you're Hispanic, a lot of people work on Saturdays, and they don't know. I mean, they have the Sunday off because they're going to go worship the sun, Just kidding, but you know what I'm saying. So I wanted to wrap this up with observe the Sabbath, keep it holy, and on the next video I'm going to show and let you guys know how you can observe the Sabbath and how you can make the most out of it. Until next time, guys, Take care, and I love you all.